Okie doke. It's Friday. That means it is time for Friday Focus. Something for you to think about, to put in your bonnet, to think about over the weekend. And I take the subject matter for these straight from my conversations during the week. I call it Rip from the Headlines. Boom, boom. I watch too much Law and Order. Rip from the headlines of my coaching practice, of prospect calls, of stories that people have told me, things that are going on. So this week, we're going to talk about our bias as human beings to undervalue ourselves. We have a tendency to undervalue ourselves, right? So I did a little research on this in terms of the neuroscience, and I'll tell you that in a moment. But just from a general observational standpoint, most of us, a lot of us have an undercurrent going all the time, an undercurrent belief going all the time that we're not good enough. So when you undervalue yourself, it's like you're bleeding out. You are like showing your cards. You are showing through the mask of your face your unworthiness. And yet we all know that you are worthy. So why do we bias ourselves and undervalue ourselves? So the brain science on this is this, that we are in a hypervigilant state, reading a room, feeling on a phone call, looking on a Zoom, or in a hypervigilant state, looking for approval. Do they like me? Is there acceptance of me in this room? Is what I'm saying going over okay? And that hypervigilance, right, throwing the brain into fight or flight is what causes you to say dumb things and undervalue yourself. And we do it all the time. So, look, I do it too. Or I would never call you names I wouldn't call myself. But with all love and respect, this is what I heard this week. Like, I have somebody who is looking to change careers into something they haven't done before, but their background is fantastic. And was even out of the gate before even talking to a certain company willing to be like, I'll tell them I don't need to like take a lot of money. Why would you tell them that? Wait till there's an offer and see what you might negotiate, right? So we immediately undervalue ourselves. Somebody else is looking to break into a higher level job and is going to a networking event and is like, well, I'll just tell them that I'm just like, I'm just thinking about it, right? Undervaluing instead of going for what you want, right? And we do this because we want to neutralize, we want to be humble. People use self-deprecating humor, which is very acceptable in American culture. We love that. However, we see it as the great equalizer, but self-deprecating humor is appropriate, but not when we're coming down to job search and negotiation. Okay. Just it's sort of like that old saying in sales, right? Whoever speaks first loses. Like when you say the price of the car, and whoever speaks first is the one who's going to go back in their pricing. They're either going to pay more for the car, or the car dealer is going to lose money on the car. Right. So just be quiet, just be confident, and be clear on what you want. Don't say, don't make excuses. Stand for what you want and you believe in, and you won't undervalue yourself. It's just a knee jerk reaction to think like, do they like me? Do they like me? I'll do something to make them like me. And we don't need it. It's unnecessary. Right. So whether this is a presentation for business, or it's a job interview, or you're networking, or it's your own business, don't do the work of other people. People will cut you a break, or people will undervalue you enough. Don't do it for them. Just stay strong, and don't let your mishigas. Oh, this had to come from a coach. Watch. Ask your friends what your strengths are if you need a boost. We do that in the Now What program. Awesome. I can't see who you are, Facebook user, because you probably didn't sign in, but fantastic. Exactly. So, you know, be aware that you might be thinking, I'm not good enough, so I have to undervalue myself. Be aware that you might be thinking, I'm new, so therefore I'm not worth it. Like this person who wants to break into the new thing, they bring so much experience, so much hardcore experience in something that would be useful to this business, that even if you're new at it, you still bring tremendous value, tremendous value. So wait until you're offered something before you start negotiating, undervaluing yourself, or willing to compromise. Right out of the gate, just watch that we have a bias. Whoa, the mouth ain't working yet. A bias to undervalue ourselves. and notice that your brain is hypervigilant to see if there's approval. Breathe. When in doubt, breathe. When in doubt, breathe. My acting teacher, Kate McGregor Stewart, used to say, fear is just excitement without the oxygen. Fear is just excitement without the oxygen. So breathe. That was Mignon. Mignon. I heard myself in that. So I'm glad that you're out there using it too, but you're absolutely right. Taking nothing away from you. All right. So I don't want at the risk of repeating myself anymore, just put that in your Friday Focus bonnet. Don't undervalue yourself. Not in any way, not with your dry cleaner, nothing. You're worth it. Stand in your power. And I will see you next week. Wait, next week, Iyanla Vanzant is coming on as a guest on this live broadcast at 10 a.m. Eastern. Iyanla Vanzant and I are going to talk about real life stuff between coaches how do you pick yourself up after disappointments and losses? She knows way too much about that. I know a lot about that, and we're going to talk about it. So be here next Friday live. And those of you that can see the ticker tape at the bottom, 2 weeks from now or so, I'm starting my Now What facilitator training. So if you're a career coach and you want a tool that would really set you apart, please check that out at the link. And those of you on Instagram, you can find it in my bio. Thanks, Mignon, for your comment, and all of you watching today. And we'll see you soon every Friday next week with Iyanla. Bye.